it's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. And we'll start with a land acknowledgement that we are on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people who have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. So with that, any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to accept it as presented? Okay, Councillor Stenhouse, all in favor? Carried. No scheduled delegations. Public delegation? No. All right. Moving on then to our minutes from May 9th. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Danaka.
I make a motion that council approve the minutes from May 10th regular meeting of council as presented, because we didn't meet on the 9th, we met on the 10th.
Good catch. So we have one change to those minutes. Yeah, it does say the 9th on it. It should be the 10th. Any other corrections needed on those? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. We have business arising about the Northern Lakes College convocation. Can I get a motion on this one? No. Councillor Dunn.
The council approve mayor or councillor to attend Northern Lakes College 2023 convocation on June 2nd, 2023 in Slave Lake.
Okay, we already have that motion. We just need who is able to or wants to attend that. And I think one of the big things is the convocation's been moved to a different venue because of the fires. They were worried about the MRC not being available or the multi-rec center, so it's in a slightly smaller venue now, but.
Who was going previously?
There was. It
Always
was
left
left
open.
open, yeah.
Yeah.
The motion was just left somebody to go, and people were gonna decide if they could go or were able to, and then that was where it was left. I was going to be there, but I was gonna be attending with my college hat and not the town hat.
So what time does it begin?
I can't remember. It's usually around
It says 1.
1. That's what I was gonna say. It's usually around 1, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, 1 p.m. at the gathering place. Yep. And usually you can go a little bit early, like around noon, and there's some snacks, and you can visit, that kind of thing.
Oh, it's a Friday. I'll put my name forward.
Okay.
Nobody else wants to go.
Anybody else?
Are you available as the deputy mayor, Judy, to go?
As of today, I am available, but my life changes daily. So with that being said,
I
I
can
could
back
be,
you up.
oh, very good.
If you
Okay.
want to go, or if you can go, then you go, and then I'll, if you can't, then just let me know.
Okay, we could go, yeah, we'll go as a backup team. You can put our names forward.
Okay, so maybe Councillor Dunn, you made the motion to get the ball started in conversation, but perhaps you can amend that motion.
All right, I make a friendly amendment that council approve Councillor Stenhouse to attend the Northern Lakes College 2023 convocation, and that Councillor Dunn will be her backup for June 2nd, 2023 in Slave Lake.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Moving on, any other business arising from the minutes before we move on? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then to new business about the Sports Palace project. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Wakel.
I will say that council approves a budget increase of $100,000 for the Sports Palace project to support the current change orders and further potential unbudgeted expenditures, and that the necessary repairs be funded from the unrestricted reserve.
All right. And I guess with that, questions? It's all in there. My question is, number one is a comment that usually there's reserves built into the budget when it comes to council, so it doesn't have to come again. So I hope in the future that, those sorts of things are built in, because there's usually some contingencies that go on in any big project like that. And is this going to cover everything? Because now you're well into it, know if there's anything expected.
I can start off through the chair. We had a pretty well daily, the superintendent of recreation does on-site meetings with the crews there. We've accelerated those, and we had a bigger meeting today to go over some of the potentials. These are a couple examples, and again, these were not in or could not be foreseen in the original project budget. Once the floor's been ripped up and you get a look at what's under the floor, there's certain items that were not visible, and the original as-built drawings aren't available, and all those wonderful things that happen during any construction project. Again, the contract as awarded mainly related to the slab and the boards around the rink. Once those old boards were removed, it does expose issues related to the seating areas, some other issues and the like. So these are the first two change orders. There may be, and there likely will be, further change orders. But unless there's something significant from a structural perspective, the contingency is expected to carry through to the end of the project.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Dunn?
So when you talked with the engineers, or when they talked with their engineers, and they come back, like when you were talking with them, did they give you any inkling or insight that it may end up being more once they talk to their engineers around what happens with cross tie 1 and then the one that's broken at the other end?
The engineer was on site, and
Okay.
there's still additional work that needs to be done from their perspective. Again, the cross ties, for sure, one of them is significantly damaged and needs to be retrofitted.
Okay.
The majority of them, even though they're at different levels and depths and all that, which will make the pouring of the floor more difficult, it will likely be accommodated within the existing project scope. Again, there's once it's exposed, then you can see really what's under there. So it's pretty well exposed now. So we had a good walkthrough today, and they're putting together a list of other potentials based on what we talked about today. The upset contingency would likely be in the ballpark.
Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to our staff and CAO reports. A motion on this one? Councillor Stenhouse?
That council received CAO Bill McKinnon's report and action list for information.
All right, thank you. And with that, anything to add on to your report?
Sure. few little things. I was remiss in sending out an email to council members, but the evacuation alert for the town was lifted earlier this afternoon. It's been posted on the website and Facebook. Besides that, there's been a flurry of activity all weekend, trying to facilitate the needs of other communities, such as where our interim election site's gonna be. Tomorrow, evacuee payment center will be set up in the Buchanan Center. During the weekend, it's likely, Ramona will just be hearing this for the first time. We'll be facilitating a request from the Salvation Army to move the feeding center for evacuees to the Buchanan Center for the weekend due to conflicts of scheduling at other facilities. So there's been numerous of those things happening as we speak today. That's the major update. As we posted on the website, the road closures have caused significant traffic flow on the weekend. Those, even though the roads have been reopened predominantly in the south around the Fox Creek and Swan Hills area, various, specifically West Fraser, will be moving significant amount of their resources to on-site. So there will be upwards, once they have provincial approval, of significant truck flow coming through town relating to the movement of their goods to secure the goods out of the fire zones. So we're talking a significant number of trucks in the thousands over the next couple of weeks. So again, traffic flows will be monitored. They're aware of the truck routes within town and all that stuff, and everyone's cooperating as best they can given the circumstances. Other than that, the bad news is the tax notices went out today, so everyone's going to get a tax bill in the mail shortly, and their assessment notice. Other than that, onboarding with their new IT support, that's happening. It's going smoothly. That will continue on. Bylaw committee, we met last week. I had a good discussion there, and there's still work to be done, and there'll be upcoming meetings of the bylaw committee. And that's it from my perspective.
Okay, any questions or comments, Councillor Dunn?
Yeah, just Bill, like for all that traffic coming in, how's that gonna impact our infrastructure and, you know, what's the capacity like for that?
I wouldn't say it's going to negatively impact. It's just going to mean the delays because of the traffic signaling within town. And if you get, as you may have noticed on late Thursday and Friday, there was what would be considered backlogs of traffic going through town, and it's just heavy volume. So the opening of the highways south, specifically in the Fox Creek area, will lessen that traffic situation.
Thanks. Councillor Danaka?
Based on what you've just said, can we somehow let the people know that this is gonna be happening? Like the increase in volume of traffic, somehow either on the website, or maybe the mayor can do another update just to let people know what's going on, et cetera, et cetera?
That is on Facebook already and on our website. It was posted Saturday. So that has been posted. We can update the duration. Again, the mills haven't necessarily got full provincial approval yet. Once they get that, we can give an indication. It's going to be a week or 2 weeks once we communicate with them what their logistics is related to the removal of their stockpiles.
Perfect.
Councillor Yashushin?
I'm just wondering, so it's still a go with the June 9th, the seniors events? Parkview?
That's correct. So we'll be posting that. We had a discussion with FCS today and found out that we will be staffing it ourselves. So any Callie or another staff member will be doing a sign-up sheet for any members of council that wish to participate in the event, and otherwise we'll be staffing it up. Again, it will be at the Buchanan Center, 11:30 to 1, and if it's incremental weather, we'll move things inside. If not, it will be in the parking lot, so we'll have some communication out on that tomorrow or the next day.
I had a couple of questions. Just wondering what the fire status is for, I guess, just the one south of town, which is the one that's the main threat, but also curious what's happening up in Peavine with that one. Any updates on those? Other than the rain probably knocked them down pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't check there's 3 updates out. There's 3 postings that go out daily. I haven't checked the latest one that usually goes out around 4:30. But based on this morning's, Wildfire Alberta is still considering both those areas in Peavine and East Prairie out of control fires. So the rain has definitely slowed the perimeter growth and the like, and that's all good news. But they're still designated as out of control fires.
Okay, and just so I'm clear, like, we're gonna be renting out the Gordon Buchanan Center for evacuee payments to GOA?
Correct.
For how long?
It's unknown, but they're fluctuating, so it may be a day, it may be 2 days. It appears the take-up of the evacuees using the online processing payment has been significantly higher in our affected areas, so they don't think they're going to be there as long as other communities where direct payments have happened through an outreach center or the like. So there is a significant number of evacuees that have already got their payments through web technologies.
Okay, and then, so that's the Performing Arts Center is being used for that?
Right.
And then the arena is being used for meals?
The Salvation Army will be vetting that site tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So there are certain conditions that have to be made, they have to comply with from Alberta Health perspective, mainly to deal with their access to fresh water and grey water and the like. Due to the construction in the arena, that may be a challenge. So they're going to be doing a site visit to see the suitability of the facility tomorrow.
Okay. And last, I hear that the West Fraser wants to move their lumber on trucks. I'm just wondering about rail. Rail should be their first choice, but obviously.
So to be clear, maybe I wasn't clear, these are, they have a significant depot in the East Prairie area.
Oh, this is a log yard.
Log yard.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Not product per se.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, that's what I was wondering why it was.
So basically, it's a stockpile.
it's the stockpiles that they want to secure, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. All right, anything else for a CAO? Seeing none, we had the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to our reports. I know we started at the very top last time, so we'll start at the bottom this time with Councillor Yashishin.
Thank you. Good evening. I don't have any reports. Our FCSS was canceled May 15th, and there is no new date as of yet, so I have no report.
All right, thank you. Councillor Wakel.
I get to give a report. Bylaw committee met, as CAO McKinnon mentioned, very productive, lots of learning that, the process, and we're going to be meeting again to solidify things up and just make it all streamlined, but it was a very productive and worthwhile meeting. Bill, I want to thank you for your work on that. And that is my report. I'll move that for information.
Okay, any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Stenhouse?
So I also attended the bylaw and found it very informative. Also attended the tea at the museum. And I know I shouldn't do this, but I have to. I just want to give a shout out to Violet Commissar. She did a wonderful job of her history books and presenting. It was really nice. I was so underdressed for that. I didn't realize it was high tea. And yeah, that's about it. It was a very nice presentation of those the history books and everyone who was there. And I moved my verbal report for information.
All right, anything for Councillor Stenhouse? All in favor? Carried. For myself, was also at the tea at the museum, and that was, as said, it was a very good event. Just amazing the work that those ladies put in to make that book happen. It was 10 years of work before when they started to when they published. Is absolutely amazing that they could, the stick-with-itness of those people to get that done and do all of that research and writing and everything. Amazing. I had a Heart River Housing Board meeting. It was down to more or less the bare bones because we had 3 of the members were evacuated at the time. So we did not go into all of the things that we were going to go into. The biggest takeaway is that the contract, the bids for the Falaire project are closing, I think, on the 25th or 26th, and then so we'll see what those are coming in at and where we go from there. So hopefully that's all within the budget that we had allocated there. And so with that, I'll move my report for information. Unless there's any questions or comments. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Dunn.
Just on behalf of the Children's Resource Council, I want to thank the town and all those that participated in the auction, to all the businesses that donated items and money, and it ended up being way better. And I will actually have, the meeting is next Monday where we'll get all the facts and stuff, but we did for the way it was presented, we did I think a fairly decent job, and want to thank town for that. But other than that, I have no report, so I'll just say I have no report.
Well, we should accept your report, because you did give a report, so.
I will move my report.
Yeah. All right, any questions, comments for Councillor Dunn? No, glad to hear it went well. All in favor? Carried. And Councillor Daneka.
Just a couple of meetings with the bylaw. Basically, it was bylaw 101, very informative. Presently, right now, we had a list that Marion had compiled of what's on the books, what's rescinded, what's off the books. Bill and the administration are going to go through that and clean that up, so the next meeting that we have, we'll be looking at that and it'll be all streamlined, and then we'll be moving forward with the ones that we have that are effective and relative. The other thing was I attended the history book celebration. It was really good. I really enjoyed myself. It was nice to see that the 4 members that were still with us were able to attend. It was, I think the attendance was impacted by the fires, but some of the information that was shared during that day was back in 1997 when they got it published, with all the donations from people in town, like $25, $5, businesses. That book costed them $200,000 to publish, which back then is an amazing feat of just having a handful of people who decided that we need to have this, which kudos to them. It's a wonderful book. If you haven't seen it or have a copy, it's great. The only other one that I had was the museum meeting. Not much to share there. Alberta Culture Grant was applied for and approved for $4,000. So right now, tentatively, a date hasn't been set up, but they're looking at sort of having an old-time country fair, sort of like the old Agricultural Society bench shows with paintings, canning, crocheting. It won't be that big. There'll be probably 10 or 12 categories, and then as well they'll be looking at having old-fashioned games for the kids, boot tosses, spitting, sack races, those old kind of games that you had way back when. So right now, tentatively the date hasn't been set, but that's sort of the theme that they're going for. And other than that, I move my report for information.
All right. Any comments for Councillor Stenhouse?
No,
No?
for Councillor Jeanette.
Oh, jeez. Oh, he threw me off, yeah, for Councillor Dana.
I'm not answering
Yep.
any questions.
All right. Oh,
Could I just do a follow-up to the councillor's report? And one of the things that council should be aware of, at the bylaw committee, the committee directed administration to revise the terms of reference, so council will be receiving revised terms of reference for the committee to deal with both bylaw and council-driven policies. So that's what the committee has been operating under. So we need to refresh the terms of reference to reflect that. So the council will be receiving a revised terms of reference once the committee has come to grips with that. And then the terms of reference would have to be adopted by council. So.
all right. So seeing nothing else, all in favor of Councillor Tanaka's, Councillor Shishin? Yep. All right, that's carried. And Councillor Martins, we're on our council reports. Do you have anything to report? No report. All right. So with that, we'll take a break, and then we have the closed session to deal with the Citizen of the Year information. And we'll go from there.